Hello and welcome to the Team Talk here on Hibs TV. Into the top six of the William Hill Premiership and looking to close the gap on today's visitors and climb further up the table. After an excellent start to the season, Aberdeen have had a difficult run of form of late, and a win for the Hibs today will certainly be a big 3 points. And to help us preview today's game against the Dons, I'm delighted to be joined by Hibs favourite and Hibs TV regular now, Liam Fontaine. How are you, Fonts?
I'm all good, yeah, and I'm glad to be back, and I'm loving obviously getting to watch a lot more football again and seeing Hibs do well.
Yeah, it's been fantastic to have you over the course of this season. Obviously, you've been watching Hibs incredibly closely. Coming into today's game, how big a match do you think this is?
I think it's a huge match. Obviously, with the start of the season that the team had, it was a bit grim at times, and the vibe wasn't great around the club and speaking to fans, etc. But obviously we played Aberdeen, and that game seemed to be the turning point that kicked us on, and we're coming back now, and hopefully we can go and get them 3 points this time and put us right back in the mix. I think at one point I believe Aberdeen were over 20 points ahead of us.
I think it was 28 when they went 3-2 ahead here. It was 28 points ahead of us.
Yeah, and I think obviously since then the run that the club and the team and Dave has got the club on, I think it's it's just credit to how you can change things with just that result was a draw. Do you know what I mean? But the lift that it gave the club at the time is evident, and I hope that obviously we can go out today and get the 3 points.
Yeah, that game was a huge turning point for both clubs, wasn't it? I suppose that shows how key momentum is in this league, because, to be honest, the quality between the teams is getting closer and closer now.
Yeah, I do think runs are massively important in the league. I mean, out with the top two teams in the league, I think anyone can get up into that third and fourth spot, and Hibs can definitely get there by the end of the season if they keep this run going. I believe it's 9 games unbeaten now. Yeah. You can get to 10. That's a big number to put on the board, and they're playing with confidence. You can see it. I mean, last week's result was probably not disappointing. It was probably should have been a 3 points, but at the end of the day, earlier in the season, that sort of game probably would have maybe slipped away, and it didn't. And we come here, hopefully get to 10 games unbeaten, and whilst Aberdeen are down, you have to be ruthless and kick them. And that's what you have to do in this game. You have to be ruthless with everyone and get the points on the board.
And I suppose from an Aberdeen perspective, obviously we talk about that Aberdeen game, the 3-3 draw here being the turning point for us. They had been beaten the week or 3 days before against St Mirren, but still from that St Mirren game, they haven't won a league game since.
And it just goes to show, like I said, sometimes you can have something go against you that just switches the mentality within your team. And obviously that last-minute goal here by Rocky shifted it in them players somewhere, and it did the opposite with a Hibs team. It showed that they had that passion, that care, and that desire to play for the manager.
Yeah, and obviously the Ross County game last week, we'll look at the highlights in just a second, but taking a point out of there in terms of the difficult conditions, the pitch, the changes to the travel arrangements as well, it's not a bad point really in the end.
I mean, no point's a bad point at the end of the day. The conditions weren't great. The pitch was very, very average. And like you say, little things like switching up the travel and that. But I know Dave very well. I used to obviously spend a lot of time with him, and we used to be my roommate on that and trips. And I know how he operates, and he would have prepared everything the right way. The game on the day was a bit flat to watch. It definitely was. It was kind of Ross County sitting in and us trying to break the door down. I thought the penalties were soft, if I'm honest, but you can sort of argue what they're given, and obviously if it is us the other end, then we would have been calling for that penalty as well. But like I said, it's a point on the board. Another day, we go out there, better conditions, better pitch, walk away with 3 points. But it just goes to show how far we've come, because we're coming away now from the games disappointed we're not winning, and that mentality was not there earlier in the season, and now it is, and now it's got to stay there. The players are all pulling each other around and dragging each other through, which I've touched on earlier in the season. That's what it needed. It needed on-field leaders to take the mantle on, and you know, Dave and his staff can obviously prepare the team as best they can. But once they cross the white line, it's go time for the players, and now they're really showing.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Well, let's just take a quick look back then at that point that we picked up in Dingwall.
Josh Campbell, into the Hibs area. Jordan Smith sharpened into his left-hand side this time. I think the ball did bounce up and hit Nicky Cadden's arm, but
yeah, it did, but
he's pulling his arm back.
There's no intent there. There's no threat to the ball after it's gone. Like James Brown, he's not affected James Brown going for the goal.
He's missed it. Yeah, he's given the penalty.
My word.
He steps up right footed. Jordan Smith saves down low to his left-hand side, and maybe justice was done there, Liam.
Right, man. And it's just having that little bit of patience, a little bit of confidence, a little bit of.
Ball into the area. Campbell. Chance here. It's a great chance. It's there. Hibs have the opening goal. Dylan Levitt from the edge of the area. It was knocked back into his path by Nectar Triantis, who did really well to keep control of that ball because it's bouncing all over the place on the surface. It's given away by Triantis. Ball into the area. Another penalty for County. Well, the referee has booked Jordan Smith, the Hibs goalkeeper, and awarded the penalty on the basis that Smith brought the County man down. I need to see that one again. The referee was certainly quick to point to the spot. Hale versus Smith. Steps up. And this time Ronan Hale makes no mistake, buries it right down the middle.
Well, Fonts, you were obviously commentating on that game. I want to start with the two penalty kicks. Obviously, Jordan Smith saved the first one, so to a certain degree, that's kind of irrelevant in the overall result of the game. So let's start with the second penalty. What was your take on that? Now you've had time to kind of reflect and review.
I think it's the same take that I had on the day. I thought it was a very soft penalty. I don't believe it was a penalty. Just from, I think, common sense, just as a player, someone who's played the game, I think you can see that the cross is coming in, and Smith's coming out to where the ball's sort of heading and going to pitch. The Ross County players got there sort of in front of him anyway, done his action, which is obviously to get that, touch on the ball and put it goalwards, put it wide. So it's not really affected anything that he was going to actually do. And then obviously his the goalkeeper's momentum is what sort of takes him out. And then if you watch it, and obviously when you watch it in slow-mo, it always looks worse. It always looks worse. But the Ross County player was clever, I guess, in just flinging his legs out after, probably because he realised he's made an ass of it and put it wide. And I mean, sometimes that is part of football. You sometimes do have to try and win things and buy stuff, and the referee's sort of gone for it. And at match pace, you can see why the ref blew up. But I did believe on the day it was extremely soft penalty.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Willie Collum says on that next week. On a positive side, though, Dylan Levitt obviously scored a really good goal for us, and he's been really good actually since he's come back into the team.
Yeah, great player, technical player. I think he was missed actually when he went off. Just that having that sort of that sort of sit-in sort of directional type midfielder there, and then the goal was brilliant. I think I touched on it again in commentary that Josh Campbell is brilliant in the air for me. I think he's really, really good. His attitude towards going to win the ball and attack the ball is great, and that's kind of where the goal comes from. The cross comes in, Josh leaps, keeps the ball alive, and then the touch was brilliant on the bounce, and then to have the awareness of where Levitt was and to set him perfectly on a pitch that was awful, like we touched on at the time. And he didn't have to break stride, and he didn't have to put any real. He didn't have to lever it. He knew exactly what he was doing. Just guided it into the net. I mean, it was a great goal around, really. Like the desire from Josh to keep the ball alive, the sort of class touch to bring it down, another little touch, then a little reverse outside set for Dylan was brilliant, and and it was a well-deserved goal, well-worked goal, and again on another day they go on and score more and they win the points.
Yeah, let's touch upon Josh Campbell then, because I think he's a player that probably is underrated to a certain degree in terms of what he offers the team, his work rate, his ability in the air, how he sets things up for other players around him. I suppose he's the kind of player, if you were out on the pitch, that you'd be delighted that was there with you.
Yeah, obviously he's Hibs grown, and I do think the players that come through the academy here probably take a little bit more on than everyone else. You with like Louis and Paul have both seen that through their whole career. They live the club, they bleed the club. We say it about them all, and you can see it when Josh plays. It's just all for Hibs, and sometimes his desire and passion for it can obviously sometimes sort of boil over, or can seem like he's a bit out of control. But if you look at his overall game, he's very talented. Very talented, very committed. His awareness is great, and he's definitely a threat, and he has real good attributes that are, if you're a manager, you thrive off. You want players like that who who are going to go in, they're going to be committed, they're not going to shy away, they're going to play with confidence majority of the time, and it's just for me he's been very consistent throughout.
Yeah, 100%. And I suppose in this game, and we touched upon the difficult run earlier on that we had at the start of the season, there was almost a reoccurring theme there of conceding late goals that caused us to drop points. That's probably that game's the first disappointment that we felt for a period of time, or certainly whilst we've been on this run. I suppose the message from David Gray to the players is we need to keep that momentum going into today's game.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like it was a sort of in play mistake or anything like that. It was a referee decision for a penalty, so I don't think we can sort of look into it that much. Just touch on that last minute sort of mentality that was there. It can creep in, but as I touched on earlier, I think that there has been a mentality switch now, and what the players are now doing is enjoying winning.
Yeah.
They know how to win now, so they know what it feels like to win. Like when that was happening before, it was like, oh, we're going to lose, or oh, not again. It's a different sort of mentality switch, and now you can see that they enjoy winning. They're enjoying putting a run together. They're enjoying putting 3 points on the board. And that's what it comes down to. I don't believe that little disappointment end of the game is going to affect anyone's mentality.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I'm sure Hibs fans will be delighted to hear that. We'll go to a short break now then, but make sure you stay with us because we'll be hearing from David Gray, Jack Idell and some more from Fonts.
I'm getting some work done. Enough of that. I am totally winning! Oh, and relaxing.
Here's your water.
With a coffee, thank you. I love this film. I'm doing all of this on my way to Mum's. Because it's all possible on an LNER train.
Next stop, London.
And I'm almost there.
Welcome back to Hibs TV as we continue to build up to today's game against Aberdeen. Fonts, I wanted to focus a little bit on the visitors now. Obviously, Aberdeen have been in this difficult run of form, but at the start of the season, they were sensational and everyone was talking about a potential title challenge, or certainly splitting the old firm. When you're in a run like they're in and like we were in at the start of the year, how difficult is that to get out of when, for them, they were on such a high at the start?
It can be difficult. I mean, I've been involved in all sorts of scenarios in my career. These runs, I think, when you start well, like at the start of the season, you go into a season and you're like, let's get off to a good start, boys, and all that, and it can happen like it did with them. At the same time, it can start off like it did here. When you're on that high and you kind of get on that run of winning and that feeling good feeling that I was talking about, and then all of a sudden it goes wrong, you then haven't experienced that, so it has that little probably delayed effect of, like, how do we get out of this? And you know, they probably won't be doing anything different in their training, in their weekly routine, but football unfortunately does come down a lot to mindset of players and feeling the fan pressure. If you don't get that win, or after 3 games, 4 games, the fans are then on you. It's then you as players, can you handle pressure? Can you handle fans who were loving you at the start of the season not loving you now? And fans who were like screaming your name, they're now screaming something else. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and it's like, it comes down to the players. Can you handle that kind of pressure? And you know, to be a good team and a top team, you have to be able to handle pressure. And you have to be able to handle people coming for you and still being able to show that you care for the club. You can't just down tools. I mean, there's a long way of the season left to go. And eventually something will change. There'll be some sort of spark, or a decision will go for them, and then it will spark in someone, oh, that's what it feels like, and then it'll bleed through. And I said that the same with here. I said, like, you needed a couple players when it was in that sort of downward run that were going to just go, no, do you know what? We're not going to keep losing. We're going to drag each other through. There was a couple that started doing that, pulled a couple through, then it bleeds into them, then it bleeds into another couple, and that's how you kind of get out of those downward runs that they're in.
Yeah, because they are still fourth in the table. There's no doubt that they've got a lot of quality. As we saw at the start of the season, they'll certainly be a threat, and it will be a difficult game still today.
100%. I mean, you don't start off on that run like they did, and you don't have quality. That quality is still there. They're the same players as these are the same players that were here at the start of the season, and you know the quality's there. You obviously, as a manager, when you're on the training field with them every single day, you see what they put into it. You see the ability that some of them have, and you're like, Jesus, how are we here, or how are we on this run? Look at what we're doing in training. But like, as I said, it's just about the quality's there, and it really is just coming down to form, confidence. And you know what? Sometimes you just have to try and win dirty. Sometimes you really do. Sometimes by any means necessary, you just got to get that win over the line. And like I touched on it before, when Hibs were losing those last-minute goals and stuff like that. It was because, like, as defenders or as a team, you know, we're maybe trying to be the footballing team too early, when sometimes you just got to launch the ball into the stands and just defend. Just do the dirty stuff really, really well. And that's kind of what started to happen when I was watching games. Hibs, for example, when the ball was there to be cleared, it was being cleared. It was almost like, this ain't happening. We're not gonna concede anymore. And then it changes. And like I said, by any means necessary, you get that win on the board, or you get the draw that we got, because Rocky decided, nah, we've got ourselves back in this game. There's no way they've scored and we're going to lose this. Or, you know, he wouldn't have been on the pitch going, I'm going to save the day. But, you know, as a team, it was like, do you know what? We put too much into this, and now it's the time to turn.
Absolutely. Well, our performance up at Padre, the 3-1 win, was arguably one of the performances of the season from the Hibs. And let's just take a quick look back at that one now.
The Josh Campbell situation, he's up forward too early.
Kiskinen again breaking down this left-hand side. He has Sokler in the middle, he's trying to square Rocky Bashiri onto his right foot, and he scores. An Aberdeen lead here at Padre, 14 minutes into the game. A great finish there from the Finnish winger.
When it goes to, somebody's got to go out there and get against them.
Yeah, those two really growing in confidence, but Hibs looking to break here with Martin Boyle into the box, plays it to Eliuan, and he scored! And Hibs have equalised here at Padre. A quick break forwards, and Eliuan makes no mistake.
Good finish, good finish.
Good work there from Martin Boyle as well to lift his head and see Eliuan next to him. Joe Newell now into Chris Cadden. Ball finally on the deck as Joe Newell has it down this right-hand side. He has Cads with him, but he tries to find Martin Boyle and does. Boyle into the box, looking to create something and chips a ball towards the back post. Nicky Cadden's there and he scored! And Hibs lead here at Padre. Nicky Cadden, the goal scorer. Fantastic work again from Martin Boyle.
Great goal, great movement, great finish. It's just he plays incisive football, quick football.
Good interception there from Nectar Triantis, who slips the ball into Martin Boyle in the box. Martin Boyle goes for goal and he scored! And it's 3-1 to Hibs. A fantastic finish by Martin Boyle. And Hibs are 3-1 up here at Padre.
Just can't handle Martin Boyle's pace. Great movement off the ball. Great pass. One mistake and punished.
Yeah, that was certainly a sensational performance up at Padre, and Fonts, we were just talking about Martin Boyle off camera just then. He was fantastic in that game, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was brilliant. He's, you know, Boyle, he's a threat when he's on it. He's you know, sometimes he's unplayable, and I think we just spoke about it off camera then. When he does play against Aberdeen, there seems to be that little bit extra to him.
Yeah.
So hopefully he brings that back today.
Yeah, he's been in really good form, hasn't he, over the Christmas period and New Year period. I know he's got that target of 100 Hibs goals in his mind. He's now down to kind of single digits to get away from that. Mm-hmm. I suppose when a player's got that in his mind as well, it makes it even more important to go out there and do the business.
Yeah, I mean, his form, like you said, has been brilliant over the Christmas period. He was out the team a little bit, which I think maybe he needed or shook him up. And you know, since he's come back in the team, he's led by example. His goals have been brilliant. His work rate, his creation for others has been great. And you know, he's at that age where he does need to sort of step up now and lead the team and take teams through. And you know, hopefully he'll get these 100 goals that he's after and get that off his back. And you know, the way he was going. I think what was he on? Was he on 5 goals in 4 games? Or
he scored a brace in 3 consecutive games.
Yeah, so you know, it's he's got the ability to do it, and at the moment, as I said, Hibs are creating.
Yeah. And
he is pretty sharp in front of goal. So you know, if the chances keep coming, I'm sure he'll get there.
Yeah, and defensively, we spoke a lot about the 3-3, so I don't want to labour on that too much. But defensively, that was the game when David Gray changed the shape to that 3 at the back. Jack Iredale's first start was in the Aberdeen 3-3 game. Rocky came back into the team as well. How settled do you think that back 3 now is, with obviously Jack Iredale, Rocky Bashiri and Warren O'Hara?
Very settled, and you can see it. You can feel it. I mean, the 3 at the back is probably one of my preferred shapes. I used to love playing in, and we played it very much here. We played it in the cup final, the season of the cup final. Mm-hmm. It's a great formation, in my opinion. It's solid. It gives you angles. It gives you everything. But yeah, touching on Jack, you know, he's for me. I said it last week in commentary. He's been very reliable and very consistent. Consistency for me is one of the biggest things in football. I'll say it all the time. I'll never get tired of saying it. If you can get a whole team of putting in 7s each week rather than a 8-9 one week and a 3-4 and the other week, you're going to get better results with consistency. And having a settled team and a settled back 3 especially, and goalkeeper now. Mm-hmm. So they look like they now know what each one's going to do. Earlier in the season it was like, I don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to pass it back? Is he not going to pass it back? And now you can see they all understand they're there, they're covering for each other. and you can see it just watching it. I mean, obviously I'm a defender, so I can see it probably better than you can.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, it's visible, and it's just a great feeling to have when you do feel comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jack's been excellent since he came into the team, and let's hear from him now. He spoke to Gavin Rittu.
Yeah, I mean, it's really positive. He signed me in the summer, and I had a chat with him, and I said, look, I want to play for him. I want to try and help. I want to contribute. So being able to, you know, reward the coaching staff's hard work with hard work of our own, and then as a club we're getting the results. It's really good, and now we can start, you know, looking up and chasing those teams ahead of us rather than having a look around us and things getting a bit edgy.
And things seem to turn in the opposite direction for Aberdeen after that game. How wary do you have to be of a team that are so desperate to try and get their season back on track? We were in their position. Obviously they're a lot higher on the table than we were, but we've shown how quickly things can turn. And all it takes is one game. So like I said before, we're not taking this game lightly. It's a very serious game. Like all games are, and we'll be expecting a positive result tomorrow.
We could obviously hear from Jack just then, and you spoke about consistency and mentality throughout this show. Jack there epitomises someone that has a strong mentality. He's a good character, a leader on the pitch. I think over the course of the last kind of 13, 14 games, you've really seen players take that leadership, and having someone like Jack in there really helps bleed that across the rest of the team.
Yeah, it definitely does. Like I said, I think when you're building a good team, I think the character of the players you bring in is massively important, and this team is full of really, really good characters now. I'm not saying it wasn't before, but it's probably characters now that have sort of learned that they have a role they have to play apart from obviously just turning up and playing. They have a role that they have to nurture other people through, drag other people through, and now everyone's sort of stepping up and taking their role on. Mm-hmm. People just think you go on and you kick a ball, and there's so much more to it. And you know, like I said, you can see it now. You can see that everyone's taking on that responsibility you have to take on as a player, and you know, all around the pitch as well, from the goalkeeper to the back. Obviously, Dwight Gale, touching on him, the experience he brings, settling people down around him, that his goals that he's chipping in with, he's bringing players in. You know, and it's great to see. So long may it continue, and hopefully we can get this 10 in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, David Gray will be wanting that. Let's hear from our head coach now. Dave, Aberdeen again this weekend. The home game against them has been seen, and we've spoke a lot about that being a turning point. I suppose looking back at the two games against them, you must come into this weekend full of confidence. Yeah, we certainly do, but we also need to know, and the players are well aware of the fact that Aberdeen are a very good side. You know, they're going for a tough moment, at the difficult period at the moment, but we also know they're a very good side. You think about how they started the season. They've added players to their squad in January, so we know it'll be a real tough test. We can't go into the game thinking that anything other than a real difficult game, but one the players are looking forward to, and it's an opportunity at home to try and get 3 points, and that's the full focus. Yeah, I was going to say, even though they're on that difficult run of league form at the moment, you still have to be alert to the players that they've got in the building. 100%. I think you look at the business they've done as well, you know, the players they've brought in, but the players they already had there. Whatever 11 they put out on the pitch is going to be a strong side, but we need to be ready for that. And we also know that the 11 that starts the game for us will be a really strong side, and the ones that come off the bench, you can try and make it even stronger. So no, it should be a really good game, one that we're looking forward to. But as I say, we're in a position of wanting to keep this momentum going and build on that, and hopefully we can start the game on the front foot and play the way we've been playing recently and hopefully get 3 points. Yeah, you mentioned momentum. I suppose the fortunes of the two sides since that first game against Aberdeen shows how important momentum is. It is. I think it shows, you know, the way the seasons went. We've demonstrated since that game how it can turn in a real positive way for us, and they've obviously been on a bit of a negative run, but we also need to be really mindful of where they are in the league and the start they made to the season. So they are very capable of putting a run together as well, and big performances. So as I say, it's all the makings of a really good game, but our full focus is on, can we get 3 points to try and catch the team in front of us? That's never changed. It is still really, really tight. We've put ourselves in a fantastic position because of the run of form we've had, but I've said it many times, we've by no means completed it. We need to keep moving forward, and there's
a few, 8 games, 9 games before the split. We need to try and get to the number of points that cements our place in that top 6 and keep chasing down the team in front of us.
In terms of team news for the weekend then, how are we looking?
It'll be a similar squad. The longer sort of players that have been injured, Marvin's, Joe and Ellie, they still won't make the squad, but everybody else is fit and healthy, which is great because you've had an extra week's training into the boys that have been injured and coming back, the Kieran Bowie, Miko, boys like that. We've obviously signed Alassane Amani, but he won't be available. I know a lot of people will be thinking, is he available for the game? It's more of a waiting on the visa and international clearance with that, which we expect to be done in either today or at latest Monday, but it's just a case of timing and admin thing with that. We'll welcome him to the group early stages of next week and look forward to adding him to the group.
Yeah, I was going to ask you just quickly about him in terms of the quality that he brings to the group as well.
Yeah, he's obviously played at a very good level, experienced player. And adds real strength and depth into that position of the pitch, left-sided, which gives us good balance as well. And he's a player that we're looking forward to working with.
Fantastic. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Cheers.
Well, Fonts, we heard from David Gray just then. His message to the players is very clear in terms of make sure we keep on this good run and keep that momentum going. Where do you think the game today could be won or lost?
I think it'd be one who defends better today, because as we know, both teams can score goals. So I think it's who stands up to the defensive challenges first, and then I do believe that there will be goals in the game, and so that's why I say it definitely comes down to the defenders. They better have their A game on today, but. Yeah, I think defensively, I think it could be won or lost, and then who takes their chances and puts them away.
Fantastic. Give us a quick score prediction then. What do you reckon?
I think it'll just be the same as what it was up at Padre. I think it'll be a 3-1 Hibs win.
Fantastic. Well, everyone would definitely take that. Fonts, thanks very much for joining us, and thank you for watching, everyone at home as well. Hopefully, Fonts' prediction can come true.